Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nerds with Friends. My name is Cody Leach. As always, I'm joined by Christian Garcia.
Hola!
Thank you guys for stopping by. Hopefully our background is looking sweet. Still, getting a hang of the whole green screen thing. Very temperamental if there's wrinkles and stuff. So every day before we record, I have to throw it in the dryer with some like a wet towel so it steams it and de-wrinkleifies it. Never thought the life of a YouTuber was that difficult, but there's a lot of stuff you have to like figure out on the fly. But so far so good. I think it adds a little flair. I think occasionally like our shadows and stuff don't quite pick up, but that's fine. We're doing our best. Okay.
Anyone who wants to intern, we're taking applications.
Yeah, anyone with any like video production expertise, we can't pay you, but we would appreciate your advice.
We'll pay you in experience, just the old baby boomer way.
Yeah. You should be lucky to have this free job for no work, for no money.
Just pay your rent and experience.
Yeah, exactly. Tell your landlord how much experience. You're kidding. All right. Thank you guys for stopping by, liking and subscribing, clicking the old bell icon on the YouTubes, and following on all the podcasting platforms, the Apple Musics, or I guess not Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Premium, and Spotify. We do appreciate you guys listening to us every week. It really helps us out, and it doesn't cost you guys anything. If you are willing to give us some money, though, patreon.com/nerdswithfriends. That's the way to go. And you can help support the show, help us buy things like the screen that we got. I think that's why those pop-up ones are probably so expensive, because they don't wrinkle.
Oh, the ones we were...
Yeah, the ones we were looking at, the ones that are like $200. We're like, God, why is this so expensive? Because you don't have to throw it in the dryer every day. It
wasn't even the price. You know what it was?
It's the size of it.
The size and the space, man.
Yeah,
we just
exactly.
didn't have a place to put it.
Yeah, exactly. We're on a bit of a guerrilla setup here. But I think so far it's been looking pretty good. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let us know down in the comments how it's been looking on your side, because we're all very critical of the stuff we put up. So
I want to read those comments. There's stupid wrinkles in the back. These shadows don't match.
Look at these noobs with their noob green screen. I was like, Jesus Christ, why are you guys so mean? Today on the program, we're going to be talking about a couple different things. There's a lot of new stuff happening in the nerd world. We're going to give our initial thoughts on the new season of Mandalorian, which just started on March 1st, I think it was. So a couple episodes deep now. And then we're also going to be talking about the new Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering set that's set to come out, I believe in June. We'll have the dates and stuff after our break when we start talking about it. And then I was going to give you my review of the Harry Potter, or I guess it's not actually Harry Potter, it's Hogwarts Legacy video game, out now on PS5, PC, Xbox, all the systems, because I've recently beat that game. So lots of cool stuff to talk about today. Before we get to that, though, let's start with some nerdy confessions, where we confess the things that make us nerds, Christian. I know you have quite the ordeal that you've gone through.
Yes, I am looking into getting a gaming table, specifically for when we play Magic at my place, but also hopefully maybe one day we'll start playing D&D in person with people.
Yeah. Never.
I know, man. We haven't had an in-person game. It's all been via Zoom and stuff.
I will say, brief segue, that as a dungeon master, I love doing the online D&D because
you don't have to draw anything.
I don't have to draw anything. There's not that awkward, like, okay, you guys enter into a next room of the cavern. Hold on a sec. Erase. God, why doesn't this stuff come up? God, oh man, this marker never. It's supposed to be dry erase. I don't know why it's not coming up. It's not dry erase. Okay, now draw this. Look at the book. Okay, now a little bump here. Okay, I'll draw this. Okay, let me pull out my miniatures. Okay, I don't have any more goblins. We used up all the goblins. So these guys are just going to be space marines.
It's all right.
Yeah, so it's...
Just use your imagination.
Yeah, exactly. Where with, a virtual tabletop like Roll20, it's like, oh, you're in the next room? Well, you see the next room and it lights up as you walk into it. The goblins are already there. Click on them, they have the stat block. So I do like doing that from a dungeon master standpoint. But it is nice to hang out with everyone and get together and have the pads of paper up and stuff like that too. So,
well, if you got the coin to spend, you can get some with a screen at the bottom.
That's true.
And you can just put it up there. I didn't go for one of those. So But my brother-in-law Mark was like, "Oh yeah, you can put a projector on top and project down." I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work."
Yeah,
I'm like drilling into the wall and putting stuff up. And
yeah, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Might fall and kill one of my cats.
Also, you can't see it with the lights on.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if I want to do all that.
No.
But he's a genius, so I'm sure he can figure all that out. Me, not that bright.
I mean, realistically, if you wanted to do something like that, you buy yourself like a $200, 40-inch TV that they sell at Best Buy all day long now. It doesn't have to be fancy. And then you just put a piece of plastic plexiglass over the top of it, and you have it mounted up underneath the table. You could do that fairly easily if you have tools and stuff.
Not doing that to the table I got.
Yeah, definitely not.
No, we wanted a nice coffee table. So something we can use as a regular coffee table, something that's going to look nice when we're not playing. So did a bunch of research, and first choice obviously was wormwood, because they look fucking great. I know they're not the fan favorites right now.
They're built really well.
They're built great. They got great stuff. I don't think anyone can deny that they have amazing stuff. Price wise, pretty okay. It's just that you can't. Our space, we have a condo, so you can't really customize it. And like their small tables were way too small, and then their next level up was just way too damn big, and there was just nothing in between. But their selection of wood, and of course, all the wood we wanted was super expensive.
Like Purple Heart or Paduke or
who knew mahogany was that expensive?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know.
Rich mahogany.
I feel like I should have known that being my dad's a carpenter, but I didn't fucking know.
Your dad, Jesus.
Yes. Old Christ.
My dad's a carpenter too.
No, man, it was, but just playing and customizing the stuff was great, and adding like the accessories with the rail system. It was a fun process, but it just didn't suit our needs. So the next one I looked at was Games Theory's table. So it's a coffee table where it slides down and has the little indentation with the felt that you can play on. Mm-hmm. And then it had a nice, I showed Cody, it had a nice little topper part where it's a bigger game set and you can buy the mat to play on. Great for what we wanted, because the coffee table is the right size. The playing size was great. The only thing was their prices were wormwood prices, but it didn't have the wormwood look.
Like the craftsmanship.
No, and that's like, sorry guys, if Games Theory tables, if you're listening, sorry, but like it just had an IKEA-like feel to it, but at wormwood prices. So it was hard for me to justify like where my dollars were going.
Yeah, that's one thing that, until you're really looking at a piece of furniture, you don't realize exactly what you like and what looks good to you, right? And one thing with all the wormwood stuff is, and I watch their vlog called Worm Life all the time. They have chamfers on every like edge, and a chamfer is like where, rather than being like a straight right angle for like the top of the table, there's a little angle down on one side, which softens it up and makes it look more like professional and nice kind of thing. And that's one thing that particular table is missing. Everything was like hard right angles.
Yeah, and not only that, it looks mass produced. Nothing wrong with it. It's also a small company. I will say their customer support were really fast. They were really nice. Yeah. They anytime I would email, because I'd ask like, can we do this if we pay extra? Can I try to do this? And they're like, no, these are the sizes, these are the dimensions. So it's like, okay, so I can't customize anything. I can't pick a stain of the wood. I was like, where's the
price go to?
Yeah, like I don't understand.
This thing's made out of plywood.
Yeah, the turnaround was fast. But I don't know. Hopefully, if you guys are listening, make some changes. I don't like shitting on small companies, and I'm not shitting on them, but like.
Well, one thing too,
kindful critiques that could help maybe you guys get to that next level,
Yeah, and I think small companies too, the larger they get, the cheaper they can produce stuff. One of the reasons why Wormwood can make those tables cheaply is because when they first kickstarted it, it was one of the biggest kickstarters of all time before Brandon Sanderson blew the doors off of the thing.
And Critical Role, Critical Role, and then Sanderson.
Right, and because of that, they can drive costs down because they can put in bigger orders for wood and stuff like that. So, I'm sure if that company, Games
Theory table.
Games Theory, if they keep continuing to grow, the prices will hopefully eventually come down.
So the next company we looked at was Geek and Son. Great stuff. Their website was amazing. Their being able to customize was amazing. Their prices, it's a British company. It's an English company, and their prices were pretty okay in comparison because the pound's not doing so great. Suck it. And that's the one initially that I was going to go for. I was like, cool. Great selection of wood, great selection of stains. I can customize some stuff. They had copied. I don't know who did it first. I'm maybe because I just know Wormwood and they have all these tons of accessories, but they had similar accessories.
Yeah, they had a magnetic rail on the side.
But I feel like someone had mentioned the other day that there was actually another company before Wormwood that was doing it. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Wormwood's the most famous one for it.
Yeah, 100%.
And
magnets have been around for a long time too, so who knows?
I'm new to the magnet game. So
magnets, how do they work?
Yeah, I just thought magic stuck shit to the fridge. They were great. The only thing, and it's not their fault, was shipping.
Yeah. Oh, if it's coming from the UK?
Yeah.
Dear God.
Shipping was as much as the fucking table. So, well, maybe not as much. Tables were
close to it, though, I'm sure.
2,000. The shipping was like 1,000 plus. Not their fault. Totally get it. So, but their website looked great. Again, great stuff. If you're in the UK, you're listening, you want a gaming table, that's the one I would go for.
Nice.
They had great stuff. And then I was just searching through blogs, researching, and someone had mentioned Uniquely Geek. So US based.
Nice. America #1.
Yeah. They let you customize everything. I can actually enter dimensions of length and width, which is perfect for us because of our weird ass condo living room and
right, and you can get a little extra width to play Magic on, so it can fit 4 play mats on and stuff.
Actually, not have to mana spread into like fiance's space.
Mana spread, so good.
Not have to Christian, can you move your goddamn cards? Like fuck, man, I just don't like.
Clean up your board state. Your artifacts are all over my enchantments.
Can you move it was weird how you guys would get mad because I had the mana in the front and the creatures in front of me. Yeah, so
I don't need to know what your mana's doing. I need to know what creatures you have.
I like looking at the fucking artwork, and obviously the creature artwork is better than the mana.
It's not for you, Christian.
I know that.
It's for us.
I had to switch and move things around because people. Anyway, I love that you get to customize the length, the width, the size, the wood, the stains. You can customize everything because they don't build anything until you place an order. You get a design. So you have to put $100 deposit. Then you get a designer that works with you to customize everything. So the accessories, the cup holders, the felts, there was, I believe, a little mini art station. All of that comes included, which is great. But I'm sure, it's added onto the price.
Right. But it's nice. I will say that's one thing that always bums me out about the Wormwood tables and stuff is the table, starts at $1,200 or whatever it is for a regular kitchen size table kind of thing. And then, but that table doesn't come with the topper, so you can't use it to eat dinner on unless you buy this extra thing. It doesn't come with any of the cool cup holders, any of the cool accessories. So I like that this one gives you the starter package.
Yeah.
Cause that's why you're buying it, right? You're not buying it to get just a table with a little trough cut in it for gaming. So I do like that they included a selection of accessories.
And they have a cool video, not going to lie, of their brand and their story. It was the guy's a carpenter, and his son plays D&D, and he'd asked his dad, hey, can you make me a gaming table? And, his son drew, obviously a shit design. Kid's not a carpenter.
Yeah, but fuck kids. Not just kidding.
The dad obviously, adjusted it, made some changes, was studying it. And he's like, I'm going to make this table for my kid. And then he did it, and this kid loved it. He's like, oh, maybe there's other people that's out there. And it touched me, man. It touched my little nerd core zone right there. I said earlier, my dad's a carpenter. He didn't give a shit. He You think he ever asked me if I wanted a fucking table? Like, no, he never
he's
asked
like,
me
learn
shit.
how to make it yourself. That's
Yeah.
what I did. Fuck.
Then I'd ask him for help. He's like, get the fuck out of here. You're making more work for me. You can't fucking sand shit. So, yeah, the little story, man, like, I felt it. And so we put the deposit down and just filled out their form. So I'm hoping to hear from a designer soon. I'll keep you guys updated on the process, but so far, Uniquely Geek, loving what they're doing.
Nice.
So that's the one we're going for. I'm like super excited and jazzed about like making the little customization, and I think it's dope that you get to customize everything. In particular, their price are around Wormwood prices,
Sure.
but the fact that you get to customize everything, super fucking excited about
Right.
it.
Definitely makes it perfect for your situation where you're trying to get specific size, height, so we don't murder our backs every time we play.
I know. I always feel bad. Like
The next day, I always go disc golfing the day after, and I'm always like, Jesus Christ, what was I doing? I was just hunched over like this, sliding mana around. And stuff.
And that I was so close to getting the Games Theory one just because it has that nice
The raised.
Yeah, the raised thing.
Yeah.
And my fiance saw like, man, I'm gonna get this table. I'm not that excited about, but you know, it does fit this, and Cody's not gonna hurt his back, and it works. It does work out for the room. She just pointed out, you can buy risers.
Yeah.
You can get what you want and just buy risers. I'm like,
That's true.
That's why I keep you around. And now and then you got some good
Plus,
ideas.
I will say one thing about that table too is that top section. Like you'd have to keep that somewhere. It doesn't fold up into it or anything.
No.
So you got to throw that in the closet or.
And it's big. It was called a leaf.
Big as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a 3-leaf system. I was like, that's a nice way of calling big blocks of wood.
Big giant blocks of wood. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
Like the cats would scratch the shit out of that no matter where we fucking put it.
Right. Yeah. Well, it'll be cool. I can't wait to play on it. You know, a year from now or whenever it's put in.
January 2024 is when they start it. I'll keep you guys posted.
But yeah, should be pretty cool. Yeah. My nerdy confession is, let's see. I guess I'll talk about Hogwarts Legacy here. Because I just beat Hogwarts Legacy a few days ago. Actually, by this time, it's probably about a week ago now. And, like, I will say this. I'm definitely, as I've gotten older, I've become less and less of a Harry Potter fan. Which, yes, of course, J.K. Rowling is a huge piece of shit, and I don't really like her. But the books, I was a genuine fan for a long time, and like I did the midnight launches at Crown Books. Do you remember Crown Books? Jesus Christ!
It's been a while since we had one. I think the last bookstore big chain we had was, I guess Borders.
Borders.
Barnes and Noble's still around, but who knows for how much longer?
Right. Yeah, they're the only ones kind of keeping pace, kind of thing, which is unfortunate because I like real books. But
not only that, I like going and looking.
Right. And well, I think that's the value too. Like brief side rant. I think that's the value of a bookstore is that you go in and like it's one thing is like, okay, I want Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings. I look under fantasy, under B or Sanderson, whatever it's organized, and you find exactly what you want. That's one thing. And that's one thing that Amazon does really well, right? You can type in anything and it pops up, right? But what they don't do very well for Amazon is like you go in and it's like, here's the new authors that came out this week or this month.
Yeah.
Here's, here's the new Brandon Sanderson book. If you like this, here's 12 other books that you may like that are similar. Like I miss that because
staff picks, and they have like a bunch of books and stuff
like,
with little
fucking Randy always has killer picks, you know? Fuck you, Sharon. You don't have any good picks. You made me read that fucking, I can't think of Danielle Steele novel. That was whack. But yeah, I think that's where the value comes from is because if you work at a bookstore, you've got to at least like books. And so generally you'll have some pretty good suggestions. And I do miss that because, everyone loves Amazon because it's so easy to, find any little thing that you want, but you have to know what you're looking for, which is why something like Prime Day, like I never buy anything on Prime Day Because have you ever just gone on Amazon like, I wonder, I want something to buy, but I don't know exactly what, and try to find something? It's
Sometimes you
ridiculous.
just want to spend money. Sometimes you just want to spend
Sometimes you just want, I got $100 in my pocket, and I just want it out of there. And yeah,
which you would think with like the algorithms and like the big data they have and they collect on you, they'd be able to give you better suggestions.
Absolutely not. Yeah, it's the worst. It's like, like for me, it's like, oh hey, remember that one time you bought D&D dice? Well, here's some D&D dice. I'm like, well, I already bought that, you idiot. like maybe think about it a little longer and suggest something else. But anyway, that's what bookstores are really cool, but I digress. I used to be a big Harry Potter fan, and it's just like the more I've read and expanded my horizons into the fantasy and sci-fi genre, the more I realize that they're not very good books. Like, sure, the plot's fun and some of the characters are great, right? But like the world building is just shit, and like there's so many things that have obvious plot holes in them, and you kind of start to feel that when you play Hogwarts Legacy. And don't get me wrong, Hogwarts Legacy is a fun, if you want to hang out in a wizard world, 100%, go for it. You get to fly your broom around, you get to collect magical beasts, you get to cast spells and against other wizards and stuff like that. You get to play some wizarding games, but not Quidditch. I'm sure that's going to be a DLC. But how do you make a Harry Potter game with no Quidditch?
You get to play wizard chess?
No. You play this game where it's like you're like you casting Accio, which is like when you pull things towards you, and you pull these giant balls, and it's kind of like bocce ball or shuffleboard, where you try to
reverse bocce ball.
Yeah, exactly. Where you're like pulling it close and trying to have it stop.
That's actually a pretty good idea, man. That's actually not a bad idea. For
Honestly, like
I
don't remember that being in any of the books, but it might be in some side lore. But if not, that was a cool idea for a random game to be put in there. But anyway,
there's no gambling, huh?
No.
Wizard gambling must be fucking dope.
Yeah, there's no wizard gambling, unfortunately.
Just put up life essence.
Yeah.
Fucking, here's 20 years of my life. I'm gonna win this hand for sure.
High stakes. I will say there is a mission where you're in like a dragon fighting den, and I'm sure there's gambling going on there, but you don't get to gamble, unfortunately.
Wait, the dragons are fighting, or you're fighting dragons?
No, the dragons are fighting.
Okay.
You know, it's like high stakes dog fighting.
So it's a cockpit or like cockfighting.
Yeah, exactly, with huge cocks.
Little known fact, that's what dragons are called when they're fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
Giant cocks.
Have you seen them? Jesus.
Wait, no one got mad at the fucking dragon fighting part?
Well, I mean, it's presented as those are bad guys doing it. Okay. So, like,
now, granted, it's a game. I don't give a shit.
You're infiltrating to free them. You know, you're freeing the dragons. So, it is presented as these are bad people.
Got it.
But here's the thing that I'll say about the game that I think missed the mark a little bit for me is, first of all, the RPG elements are like they dip their toes into it, but not enough. Where like there's so many times there's optional side quests all over the place, just like any open world game, like your Grand Theft Autos or your The Witcher or what have you, Elder Scrolls. But the problem is that you don't have to do any of them, and if you do all of them or you do none of them, it has very little effect on the game itself. Oftentimes you're presented with two choices, one that's slightly evil, one that's slightly good. And you're like, ooh, that's kind of cool. Like if I do more and more evil ones, am I going to be like tempted to join the bad guys at the end? Or am I going to have some bad ending, right? No. A lot of times the actual mission will go on exactly the same no matter which one you pick. And then there's even, a slight spoiler alert, I guess. There is even a side mission where you can learn the unforgivable curses. So like the Avada Kedavra, the Crucio, and Imperio curse, right? Which are like big no-nos in the Harry Potter world, right? And so you're presented with this choice like, the guy's like, I could teach you the Crucio curse if you want. And you're like, oh shit, should I learn it? And with a quick Google online, you're like, oh, it has no effect on the story at all? Okay, cool. Let me learn that shit, And
wow, so it affects the Zero story.
No, like I've literally done the Avada Kedavra right next to Hogwarts professors, and they're like, they don't even mention it.
Yeah, that's
seems a little whack, right? So that's one thing that's kind of a bummer is like they really missed the mark on stuff like that.
I mean, that could be a game in itself where you try to sneak, like if you did in front of them, you know, like maybe not necessarily lose the game, but even detention.
10 points from Gryffindor.
Yeah, like, but if like you try, if there's situations where like, oh, I can only really get out of this if I do this one spell that's not, you know, or it's frowned upon, but you gotta like sneakily do it.
Right,
like that
exactly.
in itself, you know, stealth around.
Like a little stealth mission where you're like, the only way to do this and to save this character that maybe I've, you know, built a relationship with or whatever in the game is to do this. And then if you don't, that character dies and you can't do any more missions with them. Like something with stakes, right?
Yeah.
I will say, this is another slight spoilers, but once you learn the Imperio curse, which is like mind control curse, right? You're with this one guy and you come into this town and his hometown and it's being attacked by these goblins, right? And so you and him are like fighting them off.
The bankers?
No, these are like goblin rebels.
Okay.
They're like the main antagonist of the game. And so this one goblin's coming up to his sister and he's about to stab his sister, right? You're like, oh shit. And so what does he do? He casts the Imperio curse, mind controls the goblin, then has the goblin slit its own throat. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Sounds about right.
Dear God. Like, you could have done any number of spells.
Drop the knife.
Expelliarmus, man. That disarms him immediately. You're like, Jesus Christ, bro. And so, of course, his sister's super upset. And I was just like, dude, you know, you could have solved it easily, but you went hard, and I respect that. Yeah, man, it's just missed the mark on a couple things like that. And then like some of the end game stuff, like there's really not much, you know, to go on beyond that. Plus, I think one thing that kind of ruins the Harry Potter world for me a little bit is that magic can literally solve any problem. So why are there still problems, right? Like one thing in the game.
I don't know if the book addresses like make more food out of nowhere. Do they do that in the
book? Like why are the Weasleys poor? Right?
Because Harry's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
Harry had a shit ton of money. In the first movie, all he first like, oh, that cart full of candy, let me buy that shit.
Yeah.
My poor friend over here could use some sugar.
Dude, Ron, that sucks that your wand's been broken this whole time, but man, I'm sure you'll fix it eventually.
It's like, hey, you know, and Ron and the Weasley family
would never ask for it.
Such great people. They would, and they never did.
And they gave their love unconditionally. And Harry Potter's an asshole.
And Harry Potter and every mom was like, "No, I'm not going to do that."
Guys, I have what's you know, what is a million galleons? What's a galleon? I don't know. Is that a lot? I don't know.
Did Harry even give them like nice gifts? Even that. No, hey, for Christmas, I got you a new wand.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mrs. Weasley. I know you spent a lot of money on that yarn to make me this fucking sweater.
Here's a sweater I made you for free with magic. You're like, Jesus Christ, Harry, you're so bad. Yeah, so because magic solves every problem, like when you're playing a game, it seems ridiculous when it's like, oh, you have to level up your Alohomora spell, which opens locks. Because it won't just unlock any lock. More complex ones need a higher level of the same spell. Like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And then when you cast a spell, you still have to play this little mini game where you line up the cogs inside. I'm like, it would be cool if you cast a spell and it opens like magic, because that's what we're doing here, right? Like, if I still have to pick a lock, what's the point of using the spell?
I'm sure there's magic locksmiths that can make things like you can't pick it. I'm sure there's something.
You would think, right? But I don't know, man. It's parts of it just kind of missed the mark for me. It is fun, like, you know, just to explore the world. I will say the exploration is fantastic. But there's certain things I just wish they had gone a little bit deeper on. Like, I wish the camera angles were a little better. I wish you could like when you're riding your broom, you should be able to like look 360 degrees so you can see how high you are. And then like when you fly your broom, like if you're flying around the Hogwarts castle, you can't just like land on any surface. It just won't let you on certain things. You're like, come on, man. Like that's the whole point of flying this broom is I want to get up there and walk around on the roof and shit. You know what I mean? So I wish they went a little bit like I wish it had as much like freedom as like, you know, your Elden Ring or your Grand Theft Auto, you know, where you could literally do anything in the world. But
I've seen some cool mods of like someone made a Dobby and he's running around with like a Glock or something. He's just like shooting people.
Master gave Dobby a gun.
This is why you don't give them socks. This is why you don't give them their freedom, man.
That's right. Also, that's another kind of weird thing is like you have to like be okay with there being house elves. And also this game took place in the 1800s, so there could be slaves still. You know what I mean? Like it's just, there's some weird things if you think too long about it. I feel like that's where Harry Potter is weakest. Is if you think too long about any one thing, it gets really weird and problematic. You know what I mean? So anyway, like part of the reasons why the goblins were mad is because they were literally forbidden by wizard kind to ever use wands. And I mean, they can still do magic with their hands and stuff, but like, why do we have to not let them use wands? You know,
it's probably the same reason why the founders of this country didn't let black people own guns
or property
or
anything. Yeah, I know it's very problematic. You know, it's
Hermione was on the right side of history though. She was trying to get those elves their freedom, the house elves.
That's true. Yeah, Hermione definitely you know had her convictions and stuff. But yeah, I think it's, you know, it's a solid B game. You know, it's like a solid B, maybe B plus, but it's not the masterpiece that I think a lot of people are kind of you know, setting it up to be, unfortunately. But you know, check it out if you like Harry Potter. I think you'll like the game quite a bit. Alrighty, well, let's take a quick little break, and when we get back, we're going to be talking a little bit about whether or not you should be watching The Mandalorian, and then, more importantly, The Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering set. We'll be right back. Free intro to Mandalorian season 3 now, right? Season 3?
Yes.
And kind of give you, you know,
it could get a little confusing with Boba Fett.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And that was the first thing I wanted to say about it. So if you're going in to watch Mandalorian season 3, you have to watch the Book of Boba Fett, or at least like the last 2 episodes, I think it is. And I get why they did it, right? They want, you know, they realized maybe Boba Fett wasn't the best show. Like maybe halfway through, they're like, "Fuck, we gotta save this. Bring in the Mandalorian." Because I think it's weird, and it's the same problem that some of these Marvel movies are going to have now, right? Where if too much is introduced in the TV shows and someone hasn't watched those TV shows, now, you know, when they watch the thing that they do like, they're completely lost, right? Like when we saw Ant-Man, right? Seeing Kang for the first time, we've already met Kang in Loki season 1, right? And so that is more impactful to us because we know how powerful that guy can be and kind of at least some of the backstory of him. Where people who are just watching Ant-Man are like, who's this guy? Why is he so scary? That kind of thing. So I think Mandalorian is kind of dipping their toes into that same problem, where if you haven't seen Book of Boba Fett, you know, first episode, and I promise we won't spoil anything major. The first episode, Grogu and the Mandalorian are back together. And you're like, wait, in season 2, you know, the last thing we saw was Grogu going off with Luke Skywalker to be trained as a Jedi. What's happening? And so I think that's one thing that, you know, point against it kind of thing is you do have to watch Book of Boba Fett. Now, we've seen it because we watch everything Star Wars. But I would say if you're only into The Mandalorian, you need to go watch at least a little bit of Book of Boba Fett. I think it's the last 2 episodes that include The Mandalorian.
Maybe you're right, but I want to say 3, but I think you're right. Maybe he was introduced.
I think one episode was entirely The Mandalorian, and then the next episode was Mando joining Boba Fett. So that's one cautionary thing before you start watching it. But besides that, like the episode opens up and like I'm 100% back in. You know, it's like freaking Mando and Grogu, and they're back together, going on adventures. And so far, like some killer stuff has happened in the show. It's been really fun, really exciting. And I'm excited to see where it goes next. One thing I will say is I've heard that there's been like multiple years time jump between Book of Boba Fett and this. I don't know if this is true. It's just things I've heard on the internet, and I'm too lazy to research it. But I heard that Grogu was training with Luke Skywalker for about 2 years.
Okay.
Right? Which I guess that could be true. It seems weird if, like, you know, in Book of Boba Fett, he's like, oh, I miss him so much, and he's been gone for like 3 days. Like it makes sense that he was with him for a while. And then after that, apparently between the end of Book of Boba Fett and this, there's been a couple more years. But I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's true or not. So,
I mean, I get the confusion because Grogu takes a long time to age. I mean,
right.
He's 50 right
and
now.
And then Mando has a helmet on.
Yeah, you can't really see if he's got gray hair or something. You know?
Yeah, exactly. He's got like gray on the side of the helmet. It's like, I'm old now.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to put wrinkles on a helmet.
Right. He's got really comfortable boots now with like arch support and stuff.
It's like New Balance on his like metal
yeah,
boots.
Dad shoes. They're just white sneakers underneath all the Beskar. Yeah, but I will say if you know, if you like the other seasons, like, you'll love this. It's back into it immediately. They're going on adventures together. There's already some, like, you know, confrontation going on between a couple different characters. It's amazing. I definitely think you should watch it. You've seen the first episode.
First
right?
episode, yep.
What'd you think so far?
It's great. Are we going to get into the first episode? Or?
No, I feel like we shouldn't spoil anything, really.
Right.
Like, maybe, like, we could do the very first scene, which is we see a foundling getting his Mandalorian helmet for the first time, taking the creed. That is so important, right?
I was a little confused because I thought that was Mando.
Right. And I think they did that intentionally. And, you know,
and I was like, man, that one, like, blacksmith lady, like, she doesn't age at all. And I was like, wait, stupid. She has a helmet.
Right.
I was like, but, you know, maybe size-wise or something.
Right, exactly. Or maybe that mantle has been passed on.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? But no, then Mando and Grogu come in and save the day in their N1 starfighter. That little kid also is Jimmy Kimmel's nephew.
Oh, really?
Found that out. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He also played the young Tusken Raider in Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
The one that was like being friends with Boba Fett, who gets murdered. Sorry, spoiler.
That show's been out like, I want to say, 2 years?
6 months or something like that. Yeah.
Book of Boba?
Yeah, I think so.
6 months. Fuck, I was going to say like 2 years.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, fucking COVID timeline is all fucked up.
I know. But yeah, definitely go watch it. I think if you're into Star Wars and you're into Mandalorian, it scratches that itch. And it's already been some fun stuff that's happened in the first couple episodes. So check it out. But I think what we really need to talk about, Christian, is fucking Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And Magic the Gathering.
2 fucking things I love.
I know. One's kind of a new love and one's an old love for me, but they are fantastic that they're coming together. That's what got me into Magic in the first place, was Warhammer being a set. So and those turned out excellent. So I'm very excited for this new one. So Tales of Middle-earth is the new lineup coming to Magic the Gathering. Release date is June 23rd. And I think it'll be probably a week before for pre-release at your local game store. We always recommend checking out the local game store.
But you're going to buy the shit out of those.
Dude, I'm going to go hard on this set. Like, I might buy a box of every single thing they offer. Like a set, a draft, a collector's, like all the freaking...
I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I'm definitely going to
go so hard.
Buy all the sought after cards, and I'll probably wait, as much as it sucks, wait a little bit till they're out on Card Kingdom. Not the pre-sale singles, because I feel like those prices are way too much. But
right.
After maybe like a week or two of release, prices start to settle. I'm definitely gonna buy those because I'm sick. I love opening packs.
Sure,
I love it. It's like fucking like a drug. I love opening packs.
It's the only way I get any bit of serotonin anymore.
Yeah, no. The only thing that sucks is like when you start seeing the same fucking repeated cards.
Right.
And it's so annoying. And then
I don't know. I don't want another Faramir. All right, Faramir sucks.
Or whatever the rats were in the Phyrexian. I forgot.
Oh, blight belly rats.
Yeah, I don't need
another blight belly rat or a necrosquito. It was fun the first time I read it, but now I'm over it.
I don't care that it's a fucking foil. It's still the same shit card. Yeah. And then the disappointment after you open all the packs, like, fuck, that one
I still
card.
didn't get Gandalf or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, but I will say, so here's kind of the lineup of products that they're coming out with, right? So there's going to be 4 different Commander decks, which is awesome. Definitely gonna. I don't know. I might get all of them depending on what they are. But
let's try to guess. Let's see how close we get.
I think you definitely have one that's the bad guys, right? And I don't know if they split it up into Saruman.
Have to.
I would think they would have to.
But the thing is like. They'd have to split in some way. Like, is it going to be Uruk-hai and goblins, or ogres and Uruk-hai? I guess Saruman can only really have Uruk-hai.
Right. He would have. I mean, he probably had some regular orcs too.
Yeah, he had some orcs, goblins. They're interchangeable for anyone who's going to get on my ass later. In the Lord of the Rings, goblin and orc are interchangeable.
Yeah. I think that. Yeah, if you do that, then it makes it a little easier to separate everything up, right? Because then you have Saruman, you'd have him as the commander probably, and then maybe some Uruk-hai general guy as your secondary commander, or maybe like a Grima Wormtongue or something like that.
No, they're not going to do him. I'm sure he'll be
a card. I'm sure
he'll be a card for sure. But no, I feel like it's going to have to be the Witch King. I feel
for Saruman.
Oh, for Saruman. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think for Saruman, you have Saruman the White as one commander, and then because they normally do 2 in each set, and then either like some orc, named orc or Uruk-hai general or something, or maybe like a Grima Wormtongue or
actually
something.
Now, Grima Wormtongue. I guess I could see it. I was gonna say maybe Lurk, who was like big in the movie, who wasn't in the books, but they've said they're not going from the movies. They're going straight from the books.
And that's one thing that I really like about the set is like all the artwork. It doesn't look like other artwork you've seen. It's not like the photorealistic ones like they do for like The Walking Dead or Stranger Things. It looks very like it looks animated and like very Magic the Gathering, which I'm super excited.
Particularly one card that got leaked that some people are gonna have some feels about. I'm 100% ready for it.
Oh, dude, I can't wait for people to be mad about it and everyone else to be like, dude, who cares?
Who fucking cares?
Yeah. But I think Saruman would be one. Sauron would be the other one. So maybe have Sauron and the Witch King. I think that's probably the go-to. And that one would be cool because you could also have like the armies of the East, the Oliphants, the voice of Sauron. You could have all sorts of like. There's way more flavor in that.
And thinking about it now, I don't think they're gonna do Sauron. I mean, if they're going to the books, no, Sauron.
Sauron himself?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna have. Or what did you say for Commander?
I would say Sauron
because he's not. He doesn't have a body in the books.
It's just the eyeball. It's
the tower. Yeah, I guess so. It would be.
I mean,
command tower as a fucking commander.
I will say it depends on what they have the rights to, right?
Because they could, I guess, when he's the necromancer, I guess.
Sure. But they could, like at this point, he's in the ether enough where we know what he looks like, right? He's got the helmet and everything, So I think they could very easily do that and just kind of fudge it. Because I don't think they're gonna be so book accurate where they're gonna ignore the rule of cool, right? So I would you got to imagine that Sauron is one of the commanders in it. And then as for the 2 other the good guys one, I mean,
the elves and dwarves are not going to be together. They're definitely not going to be together. If they're going by the books, they do not like each other.
But that's the thing is I don't think they make. I would be surprised if they did a whole elves deck and a whole dwarves deck. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to have to throw humans in there somewhere.
Yeah, but that's the thing is with humans too. You have the Gondor and Rohan, and in between those two, you have so many other ones, and then you also have to fit in the hobbits somewhere, right? So that's why I would think if it was me designing it with my limited knowledge of game design, I would say bad guys would be one deck. It would be Sauron as one commander, Saruman as the other, because that's two different ways to play, and they could each have different mechanics and stuff. Then you have one deck that is like the Fellowship deck, and then that'll have like the hobbits. You'll have like maybe Gandalf as one commander and Aragorn as another one.
Only the mechanics is he just pops in every now and then. He'll pop in and pop out, pop in and pop out.
Look for him on dawn of the third day or whatever, and you win the game. I think that would be you have like a Fellowship centric one that has your Aragorn, your Legolas, your Gimli, all the hobbits, Gandalf. You have that kind of as one. And then you maybe have like the last alliance of men and stuff. Or maybe you do you do men, elves, and dwarves as their own thing. So if they have the rights to the Hobbit, you could very easily do a lot of dwarfs, and you could have Thorin and stuff in there. We don't know what they have the rights to, so we don't know how much of each one they'll have.
I'm so excited. There's so many things they can do.
Right.
Like Bjorn would be great, the guy that turns into a bear.
Sure.
And you can have the two forms. But I don't know. I guess they can do like the werewolf system where it's night and day, but that doesn't really affect him. He just changes when he wants.
It also does say the Tales of Middle Earth, so maybe we do get some other characters from other timelines and stuff. Who knows? But they do have a full set coming out. So unlike the Warhammer, which was the other Universes Beyond release that they did, which was just Commander decks, not only are they having Commander decks, but they're going to have full set boosters, draft booster boxes, collector boosters, and gift bundles and pre-release bundles, a jump start set, a starter set that has like two pre-made decks in it. It's going to be a lot of fun stuff, man. And I'm very excited for it.
I'm probably going to get a couple of those pre-release, man. I've actually, for the...
I like them. I think they're a good value. Plus, you get the little spin down die, which is always handy in a game Commander.
For the Phyrexian ones, I actually got some pretty good cards on there.
Yeah.
Even better than the box. So I was like, okay, I'm probably going to do a couple of those.
The pre-release box does come with generally like 6 to 8 booster packs or something like that for $40. It's not a bad value. Plus, it comes with generally sometimes it'll come with a collector's sample pack, which is like 1 or 2 cards from a collector's pack, so shiny foils or whatever. I'm interested to see once they release more details if the collector's boxes are going to have a special foil treatment like the Phyrexian ones. Like, how sick would it be if it had the script from the ring as a foil on it, so you shine it and it's like you're looking at the ring in fire?
Yeah, or if some of the some of the villains like
Cinderin or whatever I think it's called.
The mechanics come in like dark speech, or something like.
Oh yeah, oh man, and the best part about a new set too is seeing the special treatments that are done, like the full arts, the borderless, special foils and stuff that could happen. They've always done they've been doing a lot of special art treatments. Like on Phyrexial will be one. They had the manga style ones.
Yeah.
In Brothers War, they had the schematic artifacts. Hopefully they'll come up with some cool version of that in this set too. But
I feel like a terrible artist, but there's the one guy who did a lot of the artwork for the movies. I forgot his name. But it'd be cool if they had some of his original sketches on some of those cards. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Or maybe on some special lands cards, they have the Tolkien map, with the drawn in calligraphy ink and stuff.
I forgot all about that, man. Seeing some hobbits and land cards.
Dude, they've got to have some cool land cards. And even if they don't function well, if they come in tapped or something bullshit like that, it would be so sick to see Fangorn Forest.
Yeah.
Oh, Rivendell. Oh, Helm's Deep or whatever. Oh, fuck, a Helm's Deep card.
Yeah.
Get wrecked.
And I'm sure they're gonna do something with the hobbits and like creating food tokens and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, I'm interested to see the new mechanics. There is a leak of some foils that were found in like a trash can somewhere, where they mention being tempted by the ring. So I'm interested to see what that mechanic is.
it sounds cool. I don't think they translated it correct. Or
that one was in English.
Was that one in English? Because
that was the only one that was in English. There was one that was in Portuguese. And one that was in like Russian or Japanese or something. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what mechanics they are. Like, are we going to see double faced cards? Like, are we going to see a Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White card like we kind of predicted? Are we going to see like how good is the Samwise Gamgee card going to be? Is it just going to be like ultimate win the game kind of thing? Or you attach it to the Frodo card and it morphs into like him carrying him up Mount Doom? Dude, that would be fucking sick. I'm excited for the set, man. And I know it's still all the way in June, but
what I would love just to fuck with people, and maybe they'll do it. What's it called? What's that set called where their cards that aren't legal?
The unset, yeah.
Like if they did one where the Eagles come and you just win the game.
Play this card, instantly win the game.
Just to fuck with people. Yeah. You can't play it. I would buy the shit out of that.
That would be fun. Now they did say that there's a second product release in the Lord of the Rings world coming in like November.
That has to be the secret lair.
Right. It has to be like a secret lair. And what if on the secret lair they did like unset cards?
Yeah, for sure.
And it was like the Eagles just swoop in and win, or like it's what's his name? Elendil? Who's the guy the Aragorn's ancestor who didn't throw the ring in?
Who didn't?
It was Aragorn, son of Arathorn, and I think it was Elendil.
I don't know.
I think it was Elendil. And like it has what's his name? Elrond being like, destroy it. And he's like, no. And it just says you lose.
Yeah. That's just one turn.
Yeah, he loses the game. Yeah, man, there's so many cool things they could do with this set. I'm really excited. And because the thing that gives me a lot of hope for this set being completely awesome is that a whole set's coming out, right? Like with the Warhammer decks, they had the most new cards of any pre-constructed deck they've ever made. There was about like 40 new cards in every single deck, which is crazy and unheard of. Normally, in a pre-con that's themed, you'll get like, 20 new cards. Those had almost double that in some cases. And every card that was a reprint was reprinted within the flavor of Warhammer. So that the fact that they're coming out with full sets of these cards gives me hope that not only are there going to be sick like reprints, like, dude, the Soul Ring in those Commander sets better be fucking awesome. Like it has to be, right?
I don't think they're going to do the one ring for it, but
in the bad guy deck they should.
I guess, yeah.
Right?
But I feel like just 2 colorless mana is not really going to be
enough for the one ring, dude.
Yeah.
The Soul Ring is a powerful.
I mean, they can do the rings that the 9 rings of
rings
men,
of power, yeah,
yeah, or like the 3 rings of the elves or the 7 of the dwarves.
Dude, it's gonna look so sick. I can't wait. Yeah, hopefully they do some sick ass reprints.
Wizards of the Coast, if you're listening, feel free to send us some little preview cards.
Yeah, exactly. Send us a little preview pack. We will sell out so hard. We're not like these other YouTubers who are like, guys, this is not a paid sponsorship. We won't tell you. You can buy us very easily. We are 100%.
I'll wear everything Wizards of the Coast gear. Just
yeah, man, they're just normal people just like us. It's just Wizards of the Coast.
That rule they did with D&D, the OGL, I think it was fine. I think it was great.
I will say, like, I've been on record as people blew that up, and everyone needs to fucking shut up and read stuff sometimes. But that's fine. That's fine. I'll stand up for Wizards of the Coast. They're out here to make money. Like I think I have not a unique perspective, but a more unique than your standard Wizards fan, because because of the fact that I'm also a Warhammer fan and I know how much Games Workshop exploits their fans. So Wizards of the Coast people, you don't know how good you have it.
I think Warhammer fans know how good.
Dude, they 100%. Yeah, they're like so for instance, to play D&D, you can literally look up those free rules online and play. Yeah. Right? You find yourself a free, character sheet online, you can go and hit the ground running.
You can make your own dice.
You can make your own dice if you want. To play Warhammer, you have to buy all the models to build whatever size army you want. If you want a 2,000 point, which is like your normal size army, that's hundreds of dollars of models. Then you have to buy the main rule book, which is $60. You have to buy your army's codex, which is another $60. If you want to stay up to date, you have to buy the General's Handbook, which they release a new one it's either every 6 months or every year, which is like $30 or $40. If you want to play Space Marines, you have to buy the supplemental book, which is another $40. And then you have to have terrain for your guys to move around on and stuff. You have to buy tape measures. You have to paint your models because there's literally a rule in tournaments where if your models aren't painted with 3 or more colors, you lose a certain amount of points. It's like, dude, they fucking get you every chance they can. So Wizards of the Coast, they're doing just fine. Okay, everyone calm down. But yeah, man, I'm excited about this set. If you had to pick one card that you're most excited, or one character or thing from Lord of the Rings that you're most excited to see represented in Magic card form, what would it be?
I would love to see some of the demigods. I know they're not going to do it; they'll be too strong. But
the
Valar would be great. I understand that the mechanics of it. They would have to nerf them so much, but it'd be great.
Well, there's gods in Magic.
It's just that they've never been, and the reason why is they've never been represented in anything outside of the Silmarillion.
Right.
So I would love to see it one day. I don't think it's going to be this. It would be that. I'm curious to how they're going to play the hobbits, being that they're not. At least in what we know in the books, they're not that strong. They're not great fighters. But
look at the blight belly rat, a simple little rat,
or like the squirrels in your scroll deck.
Yeah, they fucking take you out real hard.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see how the hobbits are going to be treated.
Yeah,
I'll go with hobbits.
Just
because there's already a ton of goblins. There's ogres in Magic. There's dragons. There's obviously humans, elves, dwarves. I'd love to see how they do.
I'm really excited.
They have some halflings that they brought in from the D&D stuff.
Sure.
But I'm curious to see how they're going to handle the Lord of the Rings
hobbits. I'd say I'm probably most interested to see how they handle the Balrog. Like, how sick is that card going to be? Because it's got to, it's got to have, flying trample. It's got to be, badass. Yeah. So I don't care if it's, 10 mana or whatever to cast that card. I'm all here for it.
They're going to have to do some stuff to, for sure, to make it powerful, but also I wonder how they'll handle a skulk, where, a hobbit is going to be able to get around it pretty easily. I don't know. I'm curious to how they're going to handle some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But let us know down in the comments what card are you most excited for to see represented in Magic card form in the new set, and how many boxes are you going to buy? Because I know I'm going to buy a couple. But like and subscribe, guys. We do appreciate you coming in and listening and watching and ingesting us however you can every week. We do appreciate that. Make sure to check out patreon.com/nerdswithfriends. Helps support the show today. And Christian, thank you for always being the Samwise to my Frodo.
Yeah.
To all the nerds out there, remember, you're not alone. You're with friends. This is Nerds with Friends. Thank you and good night.